And you mentioned the thought process, because I'm a big on the power of the mind. Because,
yes.
Okay, so
yes.
how do we make this be realistic to me or the average person? Because what you're saying, I get. Tyler Perry, he did his thing. He got his. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And Mr. Fubu Damon, you know, he did his thing. Damon Dasher did
Yes.
his as well. You know.
Yes.
So how do I, change my situation to make it where I can be? Because we talking wealth.
What's the solution?
Yes.
So how do we get there?
Well, here's the thing. We got to recognize that wealth is intergenerationally created. Most people who get rich don't get rich in a lifetime. Oprah, that's once in a while. Bill Gates, that's once in a while. Most people are intergenerational wealth. That means what? That if black people want to catch up, we have to start saving wealth and passing it to the next generation. Our biggest problem ain't that we're splurging. Is that every time we splurge, we're stealing from our descendants. You're giving them no inheritance to get started with. But the white child, they're starting out $100,000 plus, $1 million plus. And I think we have to become more strategic in the way that we do our health plans, as well as our life insurance plans. Because what I'm learning with a lot of these white folk, a lot of them are getting their first, what you want to call a shock of wealth, through the life insurance policy of their parents.
We talk about that too.
Yeah,
Get a life insurance policy.
Yeah. So there's so many different strategies towards wealth that we're not even thinking about, because black people, our selfishness, it's also based on our, what you want to call it, emergency consciousness, survival instinct. We're only worrying about our life. We do not think about those who come after us. Now, you got to realize now, when we got out of slavery, white folks been already building wealth for a couple centuries.
Right.
We started behind the 8 ball, okay? So you got to play catch up. How do you catch up with somebody who's 100 yards in front of you? You have to run faster than they are. That means we have to sacrifice our spending habits more than everyone else in order to catch up. How does a people who are at the bottom waste money more than people who are at the top? So not only are you not catching up, you're not even thinking about trying to catch up.
This is good, and we got 1,000 questions, and we know you got a flight. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. No problem.
One fat, meat, juicy point. What would it be before you go?
I would say that we have to build our own schools. Everything we're talking about, the only way it becomes normalized, the only way it becomes a part of the collective black consciousness is if the children are raised with it as a group. Remember, all progress is group work. It's teamwork. That means we need all the children in Jackson to be taught the principles of financial empowerment. All the children of Jackson to be taught how to eat healthy. All the children of Jackson to understand what black family means and why it's so important. Until then, it's just a specialty. As we spoke earlier, diet being a specialty, wealth is a specialty. Think about it. If you're black and you're in the know about money and the laws of finance, you are a specialty. You are an eccentricity. You are an oddity. That's a problem. Because for white people, gaining wealth is a regular part of their everyday conversation. Even poor white people are regularly talking about wealth. Black people don't discuss wealth at all. We have to move it from the marginalized status it has and make it a mainstream topic of conversation.
Is there an answer? I know you can't just drop a 2-second answer.
No. Here's what I would say with the unity. Again, unity has to be incorporated into the collective consciousness, which means children have to be socialized to unite with one another. Remember, our kids are socialized to disunite. As a principal, right? I've had first graders, 6 and 7, talking about how black your skin is, how cheap your clothes is, how nappy your hair. You're 6. This your first year in school. How do you know all this? The parents. We are teaching our kids to be Negroes. So the only way you're going to undo that is to teach them to be Africans, which is why I want my school to be residential. Because I know sending them back to the same house that created the illness after school is going to undo everything I do from 8 to 3. You got the kids for 16 hours. I got them for 8. I can't win. Because the brain is the creature of repetition. Whoever gets to this the most will rule it. What did Adolf Hitler say? Come up with a lie, keep on telling the lie, be consistent with it. It ain't got to be the truth. But the brain cannot resist the temptation to believe something that is regularly presented before it. Repetition wins. Number 1, we got to educate the children. It's going to be difficult to make any lasting change to any people or any community if that change is not normalized into the culture. Right now, eating healthy is still a marginalized area of activity for black people. It's it's an eccentricity. It's a specialty. Eating healthy is a specialty amongst black folk. That's a problem. Because if it's a specialty, that means most people do not do it. We have to normalize it. And in terms of normalizing it, one of the critiques I would have of the vegan and vegetarian community, don't be so extreme at first in introducing African people to an alternative diet. A lot of our people are being influenced away from going holistic because the holistic practitioners are coming at them with an all or nothing proposition. You cannot give a baby solids, you got to feed them baby food. Don't tell them that they can only eat these types of vegetables. Don't tell them that they can't eat no animal products at all. Slowly grow them. Meet them where they are, slowly wean them off the meat. Slowly wean them off the fish and take them from that stage all the way on up. I think we're being too aggressive in our intent to improve the health of our people, and it's not improving them at all, improving the health at all. Extremism. I don't care if it's dietary extremism. I don't care if it's spiritual extremism, political extremism, ideological extremism, religious extremism. It never works in the long run because the average human being isn't equipped or interested or has the motivation or effort to live an extreme life. So if we want to bring veganism and vegetarianism to African people, let's do it in a very realistic, practical, and patient fashion. Let's get away from the all or nothing proposition because we're going to lose more than we gain. One of the things people have often pondered, they say, well, how can we have vegans or vegetarians who are still coming up with cancer and they eat no animal products whatsoever? How do you explain this? With no trace of cancer in the genetics, so it's not inherited. You have to look at the spiritual diet and the thought diet. You can eat well, but that's only one aspect of reality. You have to think well, you also have to live well. And we tend to isolate these. Psychology over here, food over here, lifestyle over here. That trinity of lifestyle, food, and thought, or spirituality, is three aspects of the same reality. If you take care of one and neglect the others, you'll end up just as sick. Number one, we got to educate the children.
So is that going to be a charter school, basically?
Nah, independent.
Independent.
Charter schools are still public schools by law.
Okay.
And we really don't want the local or state Department of Education dictating our curriculum and our school culture. So it's going to be independent. Of course, it's going to be tougher that way because that means there's no outside money.
Right.
But we believe as Pan-Africanists and Garveyites that what is to be done for black people must be done by black people.
Tell us a little bit about the curriculum at the school and why.
Certainly.
But give it to us in baby steps.
I got you. Right now, the dominant narrative of public education in America is to prepare children to go to college.
Okay.
Schools exist to get your child into college.
Right.
For African children, that's not a worthy goal because college doesn't guarantee opportunity.
That's right.
It doesn't even guarantee a job.
Right.
We have to do better than that.
Right.
College is sending black people into debt, lifelong poverty in the form of student loans.
Right.
We have to prepare our children not for college, but for economic self-development. So at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, our children will be trained in at least 12 different expertise areas where they will be able to take that and turn it into a business the day after they graduate from high school. I don't want our children to have to go to college in order to access wealth. I don't want them to have to go to college in order to earn a living. I want them to be in a position to earn that living right after high school graduation.